G'day, it's Ray with another project on the YAS CNC Router. This job was assigned for Fab Slabs. Their factory is just a few kilometres to the north. The timber was blue gum, 1.5 metres long by about 560 mm wide, plus the knob on the end. Fortunately, the slab fitted comfortably on the CNC bed in the X-axis direction. The challenge? How to cut a sign on a 1.5 metre slab with a working Y-axis of about 720 mm. Now the bed on the CNC is 900 mm. One of the joys of working with an inventive type like Keith is that you never know when he's borrowed something off a machine for testing on another of his creations. Hence the restriction to 720 mm on the Y-axis. But that's not all. He's also borrowed the spindle motor to work out a few things on the new CNC router. However, to be fair, he made an attachment on the prototype machine, so we now have a Makita router in place of the spindle motor. The Makita works fine. We just have to remember to turn it on manually because it's temporary and not connected through the control box for automatic startup. To deal with a 1.5 metre slab, I had to slide it forward in increments. I found a scrap of laminate board with a good straight edge and screwed it to the back of the slab with just enough overhang so it could be screwed to the CNC bed. This was balanced on the other side with a second scrap of laminate. Then 2 blocks were fixed to the CNC bed as guides for the laminate straight edge. When the slab had to be moved for the next cut, this kept the Y-axis intact and everything lined up accurately. That left the problem of the XY00 reference point each time the slab moved. I opted to separate each word of the sign into a separate project at the vectoric design stage. The vectors for each word were fitted exactly into a rectangle with the 00 point the centre of the rectangle. The position of each rectangle was then drawn onto the slab and the centre of each rectangle marked. In this way, a new toolpath was used for each word with the X and Y 0 point set to the centre of the rectangle. This actually provided another benefit. The slab had a slight curve and the lettering was pocketed to a depth of 3.5 mm. Being able to reset the X-axis for each word kept the depth of the cut constant across the whole slab. I also chose to use a 3 mm mill end router bit with a pass depth of 2 mm. That meant 2 passes, but I'm a conservative when it comes to hardwood and small bits. A 6 mm mill end would have done the job much faster, but there were some tight internal corners in the lettering and the 3 mm bit did a finer job. I want to make a point about doing an air run. In other words, setting the X-axis 15 or 20 mm higher than needed and running the toolpath cutting thin air. I started the job with the numbers 105, did an air run and realised that it was carving the numbers 90 degrees out of whack. The trap is this. In the vectoric software, it's much easier to design the overall layout in the landscape mode. That is, the length running left to right. That's just the way we read. However, on the CNC router, the slab had to be turned 90 degrees with the words running from front to back. While doing the first air run, I woke up to the fact that I hadn't turned the toolpaths 90 degrees to reflect the positioning of the slab on the machine. Doing an air run saved a valuable piece of timber. It's just the old adage, measure twice what you cut once. Next time I visit Fab Slabs, the sign will be in place and I'll be able to get a picture for the blog. What this job means in practice is that we are restricted with the X-axis But with a bit of fancy footwork, it's possible to cut any reasonable length material. A challenging job, but in the end very satisfying.